Hey guys, welcome to Solo ReacTalk. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video called What If Africa Was Just One Country? Okay, let's start. 3, 2, 1, go.
Africa is a continent, and as many of us know, the continent is not a single country. Africa is currently divided between 54 different independent countries, but what would happen if all of these countries united today to form a united African state? What would Africa the country look like in the world, and how powerful of a country would it actually be? For starters, Africa is huge and covers over 20% of all the land on Earth, making it about 70% of the same size as all of Asia, or about 3 times the size of all of Europe. 1.2 billion people currently live in Africa, or about 16% of the entire global population. So interestingly, a united African state would actually have a smaller population than both India and China. But this wouldn't be the case for very long, since Africa is currently experiencing the largest population boom in the world. The population of the continent has doubled since just 1990, and the continent is expected to surpass the populations of both India and China in the same year, 2022. According to official UN estimates, the population of Africa is expected to reach a massive 4.4 billion people by the end of the 21st century and comprise 39% of the global population. This enormous demographic shift in the future will ensure that a united African state has a dominant position in the world, but it comes with several challenges. The population of Africa currently is the youngest in the world, with a median age of just 19.7 years old compared to the global average of 30.4 years old. Literacy rates are also low, with only 64% of the population being considered literate, but this varies between regions. In Libya, for example, the literacy rate is very high at 94.2%, while in South Sudan it is very low at only 27%. HIV infection rates in the continent would also pose a severe challenge to the United Africa, as 11% of the population in sub-Saharan Africa is currently infected with the disease. In addition to these challenges, a united African state would also struggle with the extreme diversity on the continent. Africa is the most linguistically and ethnically diverse continent on the planet, where somewhere between 1,250 and 3,000 languages are spoken. Because of this, Africa is the most multilingual place in the world, where many people speak at least 2 African languages and 1 additional European language. A situation similar to South Africa, where there are 11 official languages, would probably have to exist. The most common languages are Arabic, spoken by about 17% of the population, mostly in North Africa, Swahili by about 10% located mostly in Southeast Africa, Berber by 5%, and Hausa by another 5%. English, French, and Portuguese are very common lingua francas understood by a large amount of people, where English is understood by 13% of the population, French close behind at 11.5%, and Portuguese by 3%. All of these languages would probably have official status as well as several others. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of different ethnic groups that exist in Africa. We're used to seeing this map to represent the continent, but a more accurate map may be this one, which shows how incredibly diverse the continent really is. Because of this, it's almost impossible to give figures for exact ethnic populations in the continent, but no one single group would even have over an 8% share of the total population. In terms of religions, here is a religious map of the continent. Christians and Muslims would be almost perfectly divided, with each faith claiming about 47% of the continent's population. Traditional African religions would represent about 10% of the population, and this adds to more than 100% because several people hold mixed beliefs. About a final 2% of the population would be atheist or non-religious. Next, we have a map of where the 10 largest cities on the continent are located. The biggest city, Lagos in Nigeria, has a greater population than all of Romania combined. But despite this, it probably wouldn't be the capital city. I predict that the capital city would probably be located here in Ethiopia at Addis Ababa. This is because an organization called the African Union already exists, similar in some ways to the European Union in Europe. The African Union's headquarters are already located in Addis Ababa, and the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa is also headquartered here. Addis Ababa is often already called the political capital of Africa, so it would make sense to agree that the city would serve as the capital city of the United Continent as well. Cairo and Johannesburg would probably be the largest financial centers of the United Africa and serve very important roles as well. Africa is incredibly rich in natural resources, possessing 90% of the world's platinum, 50% of its gold, 50% of its diamonds, and another 33% of its uranium. Despite this, however, it remains the poorest continent on the planet. The United African State would have a GDP of 2.39 trillion US dollars, making it only the 7th largest economy in the world. It would barely beat beat out India's economy, but remain behind those of France, the United Kingdom, and Germany. The GDP per capita of Africa would only be $1,992 per year, but that figure isn't totally accurate of how crushing the poverty on the continent actually is because of rampant government corruption. According to the World Bank, poverty is defined as living under $1.25 per day. Based on that, 50% of the population of sub-Saharan Africa would be living in poverty, with the average poor person on the continent living on less than 70 cents per day. This picture kind of highlights how severe this problem is, especially when you compare it to other continents. But Africa has a lot of room to grow. The continent is projected to be the quickest growing region in the world in the future, and her GDP is expected to finally overtake France and the United Kingdom by 2023, but will still remain behind Germany then. All things considered though, Africa certainly has the potential, if it united, to become a superpower by the close of the 21st century. It would have a massive population to fuel a massive army and a potentially huge economy that could one day rival the rest of the world. With one flag, Africa the country would be a united continent, optimistically looking forward to what the future would bring for her. Leave your comments below about how you think other countries would react to a united Africa, or even how long a united Africa may last for. This idea was voted on over at the Real Life Lore.
Okay, a united Africa. There are people in my country and probably in the rest of the continent that want this idea to actually become a realization. It sounds nice on paper. It sounds very, very nice on paper. But in reality, it will not be beautiful and roses, with gardens and green and success and happiness and all united, one African brother and sister. No, it won't happen that way. Our linguistic divisions is not the only issue. Our political and our legal divisions are also going to become an issue. There are some countries that don't have the same kind of constitutional supremacy that, for instance, my country has, South Africa. There are some countries that don't promote human rights. There are some countries that have dictators. There are some countries that don't necessarily but maybe promote democracy as much as they should. There are some countries that are still in a very difficult economic state. And if we are to unite all as one, there's going to be a huge migration of people going to different centers across the continent. And in these kind of situations, many regions won't be able to cope. I know people don't want to hear these words. They don't want to hear anyone that tells them, things that are reality, things that are on the ground, things that people see every day, that there are some places on the continent that if we were to unite as one, it would not work out. There would be unrest, there would be protest, there would be classism, there would be divisions far greater than what we have right now in many of these countries across the continent. And picking the president of this country, Africa, is going to be a monumental challenge, because like I said, there are some countries where democracy is celebrated, but is not practiced. And there will be some people who, commit unscrupulous means to become leaders of the continent. And corruption is still a very big issue in the continent, in all the countries. There's no country that I know of on the continent that doesn't have a curse that is called corruption, So it's a nice idea. It's a very nice idea. I'm just saying, maybe not now. Maybe not by 2023. maybe in the next 100 or 200 years, you know, maybe then it can become something of a possibility. But right now, our people are simply not ready for this kind of stuff. Yeah, I think we should just wait. Just hold on with that idea. Let's focus on the basics, on what we can fix right now, on what we can improve right now in our little countries, before we decide let's unite as one country. Let's deal with our individual blocks, our individual regions. Let's fix up our communities, our cities, and then the nation, and then we can think about regionally and then continentally. You know, let's not build a pyramid at the top. Let's build a pyramid at the base, at the bottom. If the foundation is strong, if it is capable and possible to weather any kind of storm, then you can build up to the epicenter, to the pinnacle. So we got to start from the bottom. Yeah, it's a nice idea. Okay, guys, that's it for today with this video. What if Africa just became one country? If you like the video, you can give me a like, you can comment, you can subscribe to my channel. You can also click on the notification bell if you wish to be up to date with my latest videos. Okay, guys, that's it. Bye-bye.